Hey, everybody. What is happening? It is Monday night. We're having a little early live stream here tonight because Wednesday I will be indisposed, or I might do something on location. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if people understood sort of the gist of what I have going here tonight, but it was to invite people to come and just have a discussion of any sort, and to bring anything, man. I know that I always like to put people on the hot seat, and I know there's a couple people that would love to put me in the hot seat. So that's what I'm opening it. So I'm opening myself for discussion rather than just sitting here and talking. I'm going to open it for discussion. So I've got some people here, but nobody has their camera on. Nobody wants to be seen. Okay, so whatever. People are going to come on and not and they don't want to show their face. It's kind of weak, but I'll let them come in anyways. So before you guys go and before I answer a bunch of questions, let me take on some of these guys. I'm going to take them on in the order that they came and just bring them onto the post. It looks like no one wants to share their face, which kind of doesn't surprise me, but I'll bring them on anyways, and we can hear their voice. There's no rules, right? Nobody needs to show their face. Okay, so let's see. So somebody, well, everybody's muted. Okay, so let me try this here. Okay, Silvertone, if you're there and you want to say something, you need to unmute your microphone. If Silvertone, if you misunderstood and you came here to view as a guest, then just go onto YouTube and watch as a guest. But the link that you chose is to be on here as a guest and talk to me, but you have to unmute your camera. So far, I've got, people here with their mutes on. I can't unmute you. If I try and unmute, it says I can't unmute my guest because they chose to mute themselves. So I don't know, Silvertone, if you have anything to say, buddy, but if you do, you want to unmute yourself. The same with Ray and GC and Richie V. I see all you guys in my waiting room here, but all of you guys have your cameras muted. You don't have your cameras on and you don't have your microphones on. If you guys want to talk with me, you need a camera and a microphone. So what I'll do is I'll give you guys a second to figure out your camera and your microphone. I'm going to see, let me add, let's see. Okay, so GC, you're up, buddy. I'm not sure if you understand, if you want to talk, but you've been added. You have to unmute your microphone. Otherwise you can't talk to me, brother. You'll only be able to just, type something. Let's see, GC. Okay, wait, looks like Ray. Wait, okay. Let's see. Okay, so anyways, if you if you guys want to talk to me, you'll have to unmute the cameras. Yeah, okay. So if you guys, okay, maybe people misunderstood, okay? At the very beginning, and I'll let's see if I can paste this again. Okay, so that link that I just posted is so that you guys can come on the video with me and then come here and put me on the hot seat, give me a hard time if you want. And it's not in a mean fashion at all. It's just let's discuss, man. If you let me make it easy for you guys. Anybody who thinks Tony's shy, if you guys, if you think, you know what, you could still come on with a microphone and not a camera. You just don't turn your camera on, but you can have your microphone on. Then we can hear your voice. I could also give out a phone number, and you guys could call on the cell phone. I could hold the cell phone up to here if we want to do something really archaic. If I need to, for those that are technically challenged, we can do something very simple like that. There's Don, buddy. We've got, hang on a second here. Don the sound.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Unmute. Let me unmute you. Let's see. You should be. Can we hear you?
Sound check.
I can't hear Don. Let me see. Let me do this. Let me go.
I gotta switch mics. Hold on.
There you are. Okay. Okay, Don, you're on there, buddy. Okay, so Don's the first one with technical savvy. Okay, brother, let me have it.
I have to mess with you now.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Poke holes in my game. You don't have to. You can.
No, I'm just curious. Why do you think that panel speakers are so much better than everything else? That's just can we talk? Is that allowed in the?
Well, okay. So, I mean, I can go through Q&A. Okay, and we can do that if we all want to do that format. But you know, I'm hoping I can get some people that like Don. If you were to say Mikey, I think that you don't know whatever. You're just a salesman, or I think streaming is bullshit and vinyl is better. You can even make me argue for vinyl if you want me to. I'll take whatever. Otherwise it's a Q&A, and I have to at least give people a chance to debate if they wish to.
Got it.
Well,
I mean, I have my own opinions. I think that if you start with most amplification, for example, I like solid state amps, but I like a tube in the front end, like a tube in the DAC or a tube in the preamp. I think that gives you a nice bloom, a nice flavor of ice cream, and I think there's a lot you can do with that. The one thing I don't like solid state, because one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the DACs out there, they're very analytical, and they're very tinny, because when they do their filters, they only care about the frequency domain. They don't give as much care to the time domain, so you don't have that three-dimensional part.
Right.
And I think what Lampezator does is I actually think that they still don't know how they're doing from time domain, but the tubes gives you an artificial time domain and that artificial bloom. And I think they're artificially creating those artifacts. I don't think it's actually in the recording. I think they're not lying to you, but they're embellishing
enhancement. An enhancement. Okay, so let's argue.
Well, that's just my opinion on different DACs.
Okay, yeah, man. Tubes are fun, but I think tubes kind of, are if I have my choice, and I would have solid state over tubes, because tubes leave too much liability. You don't know if something's wrong, you don't know what's up with the tube.
Sure.
Or what, but give me a chance, Don, to at least let some of these other guys here give me a hard time, okay? But if you want to stay in the backstage, just hang where you are, watch the show. I'm going to put you in the backstage, and then I'm going to get some of these other guys up and see if I can get a little juice. Okay? Okay, cool. Thanks, Don. Let's see if I can do this right. Okay, cool. There we go. Okay, so let's see. I know Stevie. Steve, what's up, brother?
How's it going, Mikey?
Good, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good. You gonna argue with me, man?
Well, the last gentleman just said, why you like panel speakers so much. I kind of have an argument against panel speakers.
you have an argument against them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bring it, brother.
I feel that I feel like a line source speaker, primarily a panel speaker, distorts the size of the images. And and it's
Oh, it can, right? Like it's this 9-foot head syndrome.
9-foot head at 8-foot guitar, a
Yeah.
piano that's grander than grand, and I think it's inherent in the fact that the sound's radiating off a panel, and the sound's at different distances from your head as you're sitting there because the panel's flat. And I think that's what causes that. Where a point source won't do that, especially a point source where everything emanates from one sound point.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah, because you're getting a different arrival times from the top of the panel versus the middle of the panel, et
Yes.
cetera.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
It-
So I get it. Makes sense.
But not, I think panel speakers are great from the standpoint that they're fast, they're very detailed,
How'd you like my big panel speakers?
I love them.
They do all right, but I know what you mean. Yeah, they're.
I thought they were great.
Sometimes you get, in this hi-fi thing, you hear all these deals that these common sort of sayings that people say over and over again, and it's not always true. It's not always true. Like 300Bs have no top end, no bottom end. It's all mid range. And
Right.
and so many of these things that you got to test them just to see, because a lot of times, some people would say a single driver can't do it all, but
that's true too. Everything's a compromise, and you know how I design speakers that I'm using a full range driver, and yes, I do realize that they're not as extended on top. They have Doppler distortion. There's certain things that they can't do as well as a separate driver. But I think that the fact that you're not having a crossover is a better benefit than the shortcomings of the driver if you have a good driver. So that's why I wanted to ask you about active crossovers too. And my argument against that would be, it's like you're putting a whole other series of electronics in the signal path, and how can you be assured that what you're putting in the signal path is something that's going to treat the signal with fidelity and not throw in, because you're still putting it through a filter, you're still entering into electrical phase distortions because you're doing that.
yeah.
Where if you have no crossover, you don't have that problem.
Yeah. Yep. Right on, brother. Okay. Well, good point. Let me bring somebody else in here and see if I can get any juice, man. Trying to get some flack here. I want somebody. Look,
well,
there's 125 people. Why don't we have somebody that thinks cables don't make a difference? Why don't you come on and talk to me? Let's have some fun. I mean, that is the arch enemy, like the worst subject to ever have. But look, we can argue that. Let's have some fun.
I also think I think cables can be an issue that are total snake oil, but I'm more along the lines that the cable should be all the same material. I think there shouldn't be like silver plating on copper, or anybody says that
in an ideal world, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean the cable should be either all pure copper or all pure silver, not a mix of the two.
I think that's true in some cases. Although I've had really good luck with silver plated copper, because you can get a lot of the upper end extension of silver without the cost of pure silver.
Well, here's a good question for you about. I'll give you something here. If a cable's so important and you can hear a difference in something that has almost no measurable difference, if you're comparing two cables that are made out of pure copper, for example, and they're the same length and they have about the same resistance, same gauge, and you can hear the difference between cables, why in the world would you put a crossover in the signal path? If a cable makes a difference, then why would you put inductors and capacitors and
for
resistors?
For
For
convenience.
convenience, yes. Yep,
It's for
you know,
convenience. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Because if you, it's for convenience. A lot of stuff in our ideal perfect hi-fi would not be packaged the way it is for the masses. You have to make things for the masses. So,
All right. Well, that's all because I agree with you with most things. So that's all I could probably give it to you on.
yeah. Okay, cool. Well, look, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining, man.
All right.
I'm gonna skip around here and see if we can get a little commotion here.
All right.
But thanks for joining, man. For everybody that doesn't know, Steve is he's got a company named Bedrock Audio, and I went over to his place and saw some Granite speakers, and he's got Granite open baffle speakers that are really freaking good. And he's got a patent pending, and I'm waiting to see his finished completed product come down there and listen. He's in Florida, and man, he's really onto something. So way to go, Steve.
All right, Mikey. Thanks. You have a good one. Good luck to you.
See you soon, man.
See ya.
Thanks. Okay, so let's see. Richie looks like he's been waiting for a second. Hey, Richie, can you say something?
Sure.
There you are.
Yeah. What do you think about horn speakers as far as placing the players in the room with you? Have you seen other speakers do the same thing that horn speakers can do? And do you think any horn speakers actually sound good on solid state? Seems to me they always do better on tubes.
They can. Okay, so the deal is with horn speakers, it's a precision instrument. It's like a scalpel, right? It's a very precision instrument. So you must match it well with an amplifier. And not all horns are created equal. Some horns have this, the megaphone thing. And I like avant-garde horns. That's kind of like one that I keep coming back to that I like. I think they do a very good job with it. Yeah, and it really, it's a culmination of amplifier, speakers, components as to what makes something sound real in the room, like you were asking. But what's great about horns is you can have, you hear nuance. Horns are so revealing and they're so sensitive that you can put little teeny changes in your amp. Man, you change. If you're into tweaking and listening to changes and putting a little change in your tube or changing a cable or putting a halo on your tube or putting a little vibration, you hear absolutely everything with horn because you hear right into the music at a very deep level. So it's a double-edged sword, right? It can be a beautiful thing or it can be a dangerous, a thing that just kills your ears.
Yeah, they can be unforgiving.
They can be unforgiving, absolutely, depending on what you put up front. So you made a good point. Tubes are great up front. They're great on horns. And you can really hear a lot of nuance. And also, tubes are real flowy and liquid. So it's good with the horn, which is very fast, and very immediate. So tubes are good. They're good complement to one another. You wouldn't want a slow speaker with a tube because then it would be kind of syrupy. So they match well. And plus you can use really exotic small watt tubes, depending on what horn you have. But horns are really cool, especially some of the old cool Altec Lansings and stuff like that. They're just super interesting and cool to see some of that vintage gear.
Some of that, the Valencias, Yeah.
Yep.
I had a buddy that had some Valencias, and they sounded pretty damn good.
Yeah. It's amazing. Some of that old stuff is great.
Yeah,
it really is. Cool. Well, was that all you wanted to talk about, Richie?
I was at the Florida Expo. I think I saw you there in the lounge area. I should have said, came over and said hello to you. Sometimes I get sick of the music that they play, some of the same old stuff. I thought those the top tier vocals sounded pretty crappy. I couldn't believe that they display a speaker that costs so much and it sounded so horrible.
They team it with name. It's like, oh my God, what are you guys doing, man?
Yeah.
Like those two don't work well together. Try some tubes or try something on that because or something. We are going to have, let's see if he's not here anymore. Dave was here. Dave is probably watching, but I'm going to California shortly to deliver a full Playback Designs setup, which is going to be the SPA8. It's a giant solid state amplifier that is of the highest quality. and then it is going to be the MPD8, my favorite DAC, and then the Transport, the MPT8, and he has one down from the top of the line. They're Grande. I can't even remember what they are. Dave, if you're listening, type it in here. But they're a high level Focal, and so I'm super interested to see what Focal does with some really killer electronics behind them, because I have a very hard time swallowing that such a brand with such a history could always sound harsh to me. It doesn't make sense. I'm starting to think maybe it's the rooms, maybe it's the dealers they just keep matching them with the wrong brands or something. I have no idea, but it's hard for me to swallow that Focal just doesn't have a good speaker, because look at the things, man. Look at the R&D. I know how long they've been around. It's like I refuse to think that they just don't have a good sound. It's the same with Magico, and it's the same with Wilson. I haven't heard those two sound good to me, but I refuse to believe that this many people own them, and they're not great in some way. I just think teaming like a Wilson or a Magico with MSB is a mistake. I think or another maybe a forward sounding amp. I just don't think those things go together. But I'll bet you if you put some wicked big tube amps on a Wilson, I'll bet you it'd sound way different. Same with Magico. I'll bet you that's where we would get some potential magic out of those speakers. But to hear them with, I guess people put them with Audio Research. I it's hard to imagine such big brands wouldn't sound, better.
I thought I heard that I think I read somewhere where somebody said the Wilsons are voiced through VTL amps. They use VTL.
Oh, see, that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
that's exactly what I think of. VTL or Manley, some big VTLs or some big Manleys,
So when you were at the Florida, how'd you feel about the TAD room and the spherical things? Is that MBS or whatever, MSBs, or the spherical speakers that are round?
Aren't those Cabas? Aren't they called Cabas or something like that?
Yeah, they were there in a kind of in an out of the way room. They're like $125,000 speakers.
I don't think I saw those. If I know, or are you talking about MBL, like the big?
Yeah.
MBL. Okay, from Germany, the big flashy, like.
Yeah. Did you see those? And did you listen to the TAD?
Yes, it is. Yeah, MBL's super cool. I like the importer Jeremy, super nice guy. The brand is stoic. It's been around forever. A little bit flashy for my taste, but I get it. It's blingy. It's got big. Yeah. It's like a huge Mercedes gold emblem on the front. So a little bit flashy for my taste, but super cool and interesting. Now, preferably, I like more point source speakers that aim where the image comes to me, not where it's just diffuse. Now, so I've heard on several occasions, I've heard MBL, and not the big ones, but the half pint ones, the ones that are half of the big stack. And that's usually what they take to the shows. I've heard them sound phenomenal, and then but that is the exception kind of to the rule. It's like, I hate to say it because I like the brand, I like the people. But a lot of times it's just diffuse. It doesn't really sound that great to me. And then I've been in a couple of their rooms where I've been like, yeah, you got it now, man. This is on fire. And then I went to a dealer in Thailand when I was there who had MBL. And in that room, I was like, dude, you got these things set. Killer. Like, they sounded really good. So those are interesting. The TAD room is what made me get the brand. I'm a dealer for TAD because of that room. I knew about TAD all along. And I love the brand. It's high-end Japanese design, and they make drivers for professional other speakers. They're a driver manufacturer. So I've known about them, and TAD is something else, man. TAD is on a different plane, a different strata than other speakers. Like, they're in their own, they have their own special thing about them. It's that dual concentric tweeter and mid-range thing that does something like other speakers don't. And it's like, it has a mid-bass hit and just an amazing mid-range that goes all the way out. So I really, really, really dig the TADs. I really, if the damn big ones weren't 160 grand, I'd have them.
Yeah.
It's still.
Am I wrong? But were they running them at the Florida show with Class D amps?
They may have been, because some of those, I'm not sold on the TAD electronics. I'd have to have them here and compare them to my playback, but I don't think I'm not sold on them. But I don't think Tad's ever been known for their electronics. They have always been known for their drivers and their speakers. So,
I know what I heard sounded pretty good.
yeah,
I had no complaints.
yeah. So cool. Well, hey, thanks for joining, man. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna jump. If you want to hang in the backstage, just stay where you are, and I can pick on you again. But I'm going to grab someone else for a second. But thanks for joining, Richie. Okay, so let me grab someone else. Let's see who's been waiting. I kind of got to do this for the guys that have been waiting. Okay, so let's see here. Hey, Tom, can you hear?
Yeah, you hear me?
Oh, there you are, buddy. Yeah, man.
My camera is like not there, I guess.
That's all right, man. That's all right. We can hear you.
All right.
We can hear you.
All right.
So what's going on, brother? What do you got?
Oh, we were talking about rooms, how important they are or not. And
okay, cool.
You know, I feel that they're very important, and I can kind of work around that rooms without DSP, but you know, I've seen so many rooms are just awesome that just I call them magic rooms.
Yeah.
Or just, you know, they work, and mine don't at home. So I have to work on mine to get them to sound okay, you know. But you know, I buy a pair of speakers from my guy, and they sound great. Get in here, they're like, eh. So
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but you know, it's I can get it to sound good, but you know, his room is better.
Sure.
You know, it's no contest, but I also set up so many systems in the past that were like, you know, just I call them magic rooms because, you know, you never know. Sometimes you look and say, oh, this is going to be great, you know, vaulted ceilings, the right doorways or whatever, you know, but without any real room treatment. But yet I got a few, but that just sounds so good. You just, you know, like what the hell is going on? You know, like I can compare like one of my favorite speakers was a Infinity Epsilon, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm out at a customer's house with a Onkyo receiver, like an AVR, $400, you know, with a pair of RB8s in walls are $700. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? It sounds really good. It defies logic, you know.
Sure.
But it's not good. Now, I can name probably 5 or so instances where you expect nothing and you're like, what is going on here? That good. But yet, you know, take a really nice system in a wrong space, like, oh man, it's rough.
Sure. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You know, I think you know, you just a little room treatment goes a long way.
Right.
And you know, and you know, it's certainly better than nothing, but I don't think it's imperative that you have, you know, a whole huge room full of stuff. But Tom, thanks for joining us. Let me grab someone else and get a little someone else on here.
Right.
And thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it.
That's the fun. All right, thank you.
Okay, you bet. Cheers, man. Bye. Okay, so let's see who we got. Hey, Dave.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
How are you, buddy?
All right.
Good.
So I don't know if you see this, but those are the Focal Maestro Evos.
Okay, there they are, Maestro Evos.
And then
Okay, so those are the ones people asked about. These are the Maestro Evos. We'll be putting some kick-ass electronics with those things shortly. We'll know what they're.
So when I first got them, they were pretty bright. I think that's what everybody says, they're bright. I put some warm electronics with it. The Luxman is a pretty warm amp, I think, and so is the Pre. I switched out to the Lumen X1 from what I was using, and I have no complaints with that one. I know you're not a big fan of it because you say it's China. It's actually Hong Kong, and I think there is a definitive difference.
Not since they took it over.
Well,
since they took it back. Yeah,
that is true, but they're not
but
abusing.
I hear
people.
you. I hear
they're
you.
not abusing the people in Hong Kong, right?
I hear you. Yeah.
So, I thought one of your main complaints with China, and I know you have a fiscal complaint. You don't want money going to that country, and I could understand that, right? But Hong Kong doesn't, treat their people like they do in China. So there is that going on. They aren't enslaving them,
For sure.
So anyway, and then you know how they have those tuning deals for the Focal in the back of the speaker to take 3 dB off of your highs or +3. So I do take it's negative 3 dB off of the treble. And I listen to things pretty loud, about 94 dB, and I could listen to it for 8-hour stints. So I don't get fatigued with it. So I think there is a tuning process with a Focal and with any speaker, but the Focal, if they're bright, you set them up with warm electronics, in my opinion, and they soften them up.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that I haven't had the issue with them. Initially, I did, but no, they seem to me run pretty good. But I am interested to get your opinion on them. And here's the thing: I know that you were saying, other people when you go to their houses, you're going to kind of church up what you're going to say to them, And for me, man, I don't want you to do any of that. If you don't think these things sound good, I want you to say it. I want you to just be as honest as you can, because that doesn't.
I owe it to you, brother. I owe it to you. Anybody that comes to me, I owe it to you to be honest. I can't.
Well,
I don't
want you to church it up. I want you to, you guys, if you listen to these things and say, man, these things sound like I can only listen to them for 10 minutes and I got to leave the room. Hey, good. And one of the reasons when I first got into this and I was talking to you, I think I started talking about March with the changing out my electronics. I wanted to go with the TADs. So I know I mentioned them, and at the time you weren't TAD deal, but you were kind of, maybe that was a catalyst. I don't know. You'd have to tell me.
What what was the catalyst? The show?
No, well, I thought at the time I didn't even know you were interested in TADs. I was kind of like, I was interested in TADs, and it kind of like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get them, and all of a sudden,
yes. Yeah. You gave me the impetus for sure, man, because I was like, you know what? It's time to move on this thing. They're starting a new network, and so I can get in without having. I don't like if they've got a whole bunch, like Focal, for instance. I mean, there's a dealer on every block, right? Like I don't want to be just I like to handpick the brands that are not everywhere.
Well, Best Buy sells Focal now, right? I mean,
Focal. No, look, Focal has done a phenomenal job. I've got Focals. I still had some. I had Focals in my truck, man.
I have them in my truck too.
Yeah. I mean, they're sweet, dude. Utopias. And
I don't have Utopias, but
Yeah. This was a long time ago, but anyways, yeah. So it's a great. It's got to be good, man. And we'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of it. We'll do a video when I'm out there. We'll share it with the guys. Everybody will be able to see. And I'm hoping we get great results. And we got to give those a shot before we do anything,
I definitely want to get the equipment hopefully warmed up before you do that, because we're changing out all the cables. You're changing out the DAC, the streamer, and the amp. The only thing that's going to be, broken in are the speakers. And I just find it.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. They do need some hours. I mean, they'll sound great right off the cuff. They don't sound bad, but they, everything relaxes a little bit. you know.
Yeah.
So
They'll
we'll get
sound
that.
bright.
Yeah, it could. So I get what you're saying. You're saying it might be unfair to judge the focals right off the cuff because with unbroken in electronics, that makes sense.
It'd be
You
pretty
know?
annoying that in a month or two, I'm like, man, you got to come back here.
Well, you know what? Maybe we get them out there first. We let them break in a little bit or something like that, and then I come out, or I come out. We set them up, and then I go disappear for 2 weeks up and down the coast.
There you go. Yeah, make a real trip out of
See
it.
some people, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and then come back.
No, I'm real excited about changing out the electronics, and all these electronics are going to go into my basically my office.
Yeah,
And have a little near field system there that I've
there you
always had.
go.
I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. I like near field systems. I like listening to my main system in the house, but I've always been attracted to the near field system and how it sounds.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I know you're taking out basically the room out of the equation, which is kind of why I'm looking at those
Right.
doing the TAD. What are those CX1s or whatever? I like to do that for a near field system.
Yeah. Those things are sweet, man. I mean, I've got them here, and there's something magic about TADs. You know, I mean, even people that come and listen, we'll put something else in that'll be maybe have more bass because we'll put those stone, you know, like floor standards in. Of course, they're going to have more bass. They have more bass drivers, but you put the TADs in, and at first, people, Steve can even attest for this. You know, it's like, man, don't take them out yet. You know, like there's something about them that's growing on me that I really like. That I, just leave them in. You
Well,
know?
there are some of the rare distributors of speakers that manufacture everything, right? They manufacture their own drivers, which I really respect.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start getting into the $100,000 and more for a speaker, and they're buying, I know modified, but they're buying them from different company stacks or whatever, and
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I lose a little respect because like Estelons, right? I mean, they're getting what 200,000 for a set of speakers, and they don't make any of the drivers. I don't know how they do that. I just find that to be rude. It's like
Yeah.
you aren't even paying for R&D at that point.
Well, they're cabinet makers.
Yeah, so
they
I'm
make-
buying
they
a
make-
$180,000
the
cabinet.
cabinet is not.
for drivers. I mean, give me-
Yeah, I know, but the cabinet is not easy to do, man.
Fair
cabinet
enough,
is-
but then again,
yeah.
there's like speakers like IO Designs that don't have a cabinet at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's how you take care of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's fair. It's just I have a
All
hard
right.
time.
All right, man. Well, look, thanks for joining. I appreciate you joining the stream.
Sorry, I
let's
don't
see
have an
if-
argument for you. I tried.
No, that's all right, man. I'm going to
on
move
Congo,
around and see
but
if
you
I
didn't want to
can.
go there.
Okay, brother. Thanks, man.
Take it easy.
See you soon. Okay, Dan, you're next, buddy.
Thanks, my friend.
Here we are.
I agree with both Steve and the last
Dave.
Dave about their speaker biases. With regarding Steve, I'm in the camp he's in. I like a point source over a planar panel design. When I moved up in the from my Vanico E25s back in the mid 70s to a decision point between a Seb Dahlquist DQ10s and a Magnepan speaker, I noticed the same things that Steve noticed. That for me at least, the Dahlquist seemed to image better and present a more realistic soundstage than the Magnepan did. Now, having said that, I've owned two electrostats from Martin Logan, Aries and a Quest, I think Aries 2 and a Quest 2 over time, and they imaged magnificently. Now the panels weren't nearly as large as the Magnepan speakers I was looking at back in the mid 70s. This is now in the mid 90s. But I once again went to a point source speaker and Dunleavy, SC4A.
Yeah, it's a great speaker.
And then eventually went the opposite direction when I had a child and cats in the house. Went to a near field design with a pair of ATC active 20 SLAs, and so they were near field speakers. They imaged beautifully, and they sounded great. So those sort of my biases, and even the TAD dealer, distributor, importer, acknowledged, and I think maybe Steve did so as well in the short you showed, that your big rig panel system kicked ass on everything in your room.
Oh,
Now,
right, yeah.
It may be a fact that, and I'm not saying they preferred it over their speakers that they were showing, I mean, or representing, but they definitely were impressed. And that was something I think is a testament to you and your system layout and design.
Yeah.
But my question for you is about DACs and DACs in general when they're configured. And my question really is about what steps do you take as a dealer to authenticate or confirm various specifications of those products that you carry? And let me give you two examples. The new one that you're carrying from Denmark, the new OnTech. When you look at DACs and their design configurations, like the NPD design, it's a dual differential DAC architecture, which means that generally you put out twice the voltage output on the balanced outputs than you do on the single-ended RCAs. On the new OnTech, if you look at their specifications, they seem to put out one volt on each output, which seems kind of odd if it's.
I don't get bogged down in spec. That's the thing. I listen to them.
I understand.
I have a hunch, and then I just I just go with it. In the new OnTech, I just had a hunch. I decided to try them out. I knew a little bit about them, and so I got it, and so I listened to it, and it sounded great, and that was it.
So the question I have, and I understand that, it's a nice deflection, Mikey, nice deflection. The same applies to the NPD 8 design. It's clearly a dual differential architecture.
But who cares? Who cares?
Okay, well.
No, I'm asking.
Well, maybe some of your customers care. Maybe I care.
Why?
Well, why not? Why not?
Because it's confusing.
Okay, it's confusing. Granted, that might be true, but the fact of the matter is, it has like a weird specification on its outputs as well. 4.2 volts on both balanced and single-ended. Now, I'm not questioning the outputs. The question is, how are they able to achieve that on both single-ended and balanced configurations? And the same applies to new OnTech. Now, I understand your.
What's the concern?
Well, the concern is representation of what the design is. Okay, the specifications belie what they appear to be stating as their product.
Okay. Okay. So it's a way of like determining their integrity as a manufacturer, if they're full of shit or not.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I understand your point. Hey, I bring it in, I listen to it, and based upon my auditions, I recommend it to my clients. I get that. I get that. I understand that. But that's my main concern in terms of how dealers, might showcase, represent the products that they bring in for their clients. That's all. And as the last comment I want to make is directed to your chat. Okay, your chat has been kind of rude to some of the participants that you invite on.
Which chat?
The chat on streaming right now.
Oh, it's been rude to
many people. You can't.
Are saying like leaving rude comments.
Yeah, like calling one person, drunk, or calling another person, you can't argue with dumb. I mean, those are. Seriously.
I can't control it.
I understand.
Yeah, I know.
When we're coming on, it seems to me that that's inappropriate behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate comments in the chat based upon my saying that and calling these people out. But my view is that it's a community, people. You know, the rules are what they are, and the rules do apply to the community chat. So,
Yeah. I mean, we got to take it in stride. You know, I think people need to understand there's all different types of us that are into hi-fi. Some, like yourselves, are more intellectual minded and you're more specification minded because that's what talks to you, right? Other people like me, maybe just over time, I learned, you know, specs don't always tell me the story. So I try not to. I used to get caught up in them. What you said about differential used to be one of my things. I used to say, I only want a dual differential DAC. It has to have 4 DAC chips or I'm not buying it. They got to be Burr Brown, you know, and that was definite. And I would go into these DAC manufacturers at the show and I would tell them, does it have dual differential? Are they Burr Brown? And I'd act like I knew something. I really didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but I was acting like I did.
But in this case, Mikey, all I'm asking about is clarification of their specification vis-a-vis what they're saying their design's about. That's all.
Yeah.
And
I got you.
if it sounds fantastic, it's single-ended, then God bless them. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate your time, brother.
Chat later.
We'll talk again. Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you, man. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so Jason, I think Jason, you should come on, Jason. Why don't you come on, bro? Okay, so Jason threw something up which was said for me to the DACs are only 1s and 0s, so why would a good DAC matter, right? And prove it to me. Well, I can do that in 1 second, okay? And just give you 1 second. Okay, 1s and 0s have an accuracy specification. That's all there is to it. Okay. So it's not just a 1 and a 0. It's a step function, right? It goes like this, right? You've seen how digital works. It's like right angles. Okay. So it's either an on or an off. It's a 0 or a 1, right? So this is if in an inaccurate DAC, that little thing that's supposed to be a perfect right angle will have overshoot or ringing. So it'll be like this. It'll be curved in the corner. Okay. So 1s and 0s, it's just such a foolish thing to say a DAC is only 1s and 0s. I mean, when people say that, you really just pat them on the back and go, it's okay. Here's a cookie and a little milk. You'll be all right, you know, because they don't understand, you know. It's there is an accuracy spec to digital information. There's something called jitter. There's something called you know, overshoot, ringing, pre-ringing, post-ringing, anti-alias. There's so much crap that goes on. And so there's an accuracy to that digital bit stream. So that's why digital is not all the same. That's why different DACs sound different, because they have different accuracy, right? So let's see. Okay, here we got some other, let's see. James has been waiting. Were you ready, James? Okay, there he is. He's sitting up. He's getting ready. I'll let you get ready here. Okay, brother. There you are,
thanks for giving me that time, man, as I was laying down.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, man.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff being talked about. I mean, I'm also a point source guy, but only recently in the last couple of years that I bought a pair of Fine Audios. And before that, I was always standard, you know, 3-way or a 2-way box speaker guy. And I think what Fine Audio does differently, and similar to Tannoy, same engineers, as you well know, they all left and opened up the factory for Fine Audio. But what they do is they do a point source driver, but it's not a KEF point source driver. This is, you know, a partial horn and a point source. But in my case, I have the 502 SP, which also has another driver below it. So it's a sub driver crossed over, and then an 8-inch, which is an 8-inch driver, and an 8-inch mid-range with the point source horn-loaded magnesium dome tweeter. So those combination of technologies for me, unbeatable, I think, because it's got the qualities of that horn without that sort of that effect that effect that you were talking about. Yeah. But it's also got the point source imaging, and they're very precise, and it's not asking that driver to do everything. A lot of the cost. They've went up in price now. They're 8,200. I'm in Ottawa, Canada, so 8,200 Canadian. I think that puts you at about 6,800 American for the pair. So they're not killer, and you know they're built in Scotland by Scottish hands. So I mean, it's not that much money when you think about even just shipping them over here and everything else, right?
Yeah, totally.
So to me, I think those that kind of speaker technology, I think a lot of people need to look into it a bit more, and don't judge it on your KEF UniQ. And I've heard those things, and I mean they use the cheapest tweeter in those things too, that aluminum dome tweeter, you know, pushed right up front. And of course they've got to have this meta design on the back of it, because without it, that tweeter is just, it rings. It's a horrible ringy, you know. Really overemphasize high frequency. Sorry if anybody owns KEF out there. I don't enjoy them personally myself.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But DAX, you're on DAX, you know, ones and zeros. I hear this all the time. The funny thing is everybody forgets about the output stage, right? The analog output stage is everything. And I think most DAX probably sound very similar in a circuit. But when you compare the different DAX output stages, whether it be tube or class A or whatever specialized output transformers they're using, and you know, high quality parts, it's going to change the sound quality like it would on a preamp. Would you not agree with that, Mikey?
Absolutely. I mean, look at some brands like Lampesator, which I consider an output section company.
Yeah,
like, they're not even a DAC company, man. That is an output section company. You know what I mean? I mean, their whole thing is making this beautiful, majestic tubes popping up and everything.
Right. It's a tube preamp with a DAC built in. That's what it is. It's a tube preamp with a DAC built in. That's essentially what those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's for everything else for audio guys. I mean, people think it's crazy, but you hear differences in USB cables. I mean, you did one demo one time. You actually stopped me from buying the WireWorld Platinum USB. You did a little video on that, and you did some sound demos, and you talked about that cable. And when I really looked into it, there wasn't very much special about that cable. All it was silver, which made it special, I suppose. But when I did borrow it from my local dealer, I heard exactly what you described and what I heard over YouTube, which was highly compressed, but it was very tipped up in the top end. And I gave it days of break-in too, because I figured, well, you know, it needs to run it in. Let's be fair. And I landed up going with an Audio Quest, which is slightly less money. And for me, it sounds better. But there's an example. People will argue with, oh, you don't hear any difference in USB cables. Yes, you do. I did cable risers. I heard a difference in there. I have a pretty resolving system, so I can hear little differences. I got a new rack. I found that it sounded more grounded, my system, after getting this old cheap rack that I had. I got a newer rack, a proper rack. So I mean, but these are points that people will argue. Oh, that's all in your head. It's
they don't have to buy it. They don't have to buy it. That's what I say. I mean, if you think it's all in my head, then don't buy it. Fuck
yeah.
It's a free world. You know, you don't have to buy the cables. You don't have to buy. Just, you know, everybody to each his own. You know, but we know that. I mean, you know, they. How could cables not make a difference? They electrically change the impedance. So look at
exactly.
It changes what
And I'm a big fan of Cardass. If you read a lot of his electrical theory, and I mean, this guy's the real deal. I mean, he came from the telephone company, and he was an electrical engineer his whole life. And you know, his patents that he has, you know, the match propagation patent that he has on his cables. It's not a WireWorld company. Where you look at WireWorld, yeah, he's got some patents, but I don't feel they're groundbreaking. Some of the stuff that George Cardass has done, I think, is you know, pretty pioneering. And I've went with the whole clear package for the synergy aspect of it, and because they're not bright, and they're just more natural sounding.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like his digital, right? So people say, "Oh, don't mix cables." Well, that's not true either. I found Audio Quest had more excitement in the digital area. But I do like Cardass's speaker wires, power cables, versus Audio Quest.
They've changed. Cardass used to be soft sounding.
And if
you need to soften shit, get Cardass. You know.
Right. And now the Clear product is not like that. Although maybe could be described as slightly warmer than a lot of cables out there, but that gives it more of a natural feel to it, I believe, and you get spectacular imaging out of his cables now as well. So I don't know. I don't want to take up too much of your time, Mikey, but I watch you all the time, man. I've learned some stuff from you. But the best way to learn is learn yourself. Borrow, listen.
If you have the time.
If you have the time, yeah.
If you don't have the time, then and you don't want to mess with it, then you find somebody you can trust. Is what I say. Find somebody you can trust.
I do a bit of both, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, James.
So, all right, bud.
What part of Canada are you in, man?
Ottawa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You a hockey player?
I am not a hockey player, no.
You weren't growing up?
It's a common misconception. We're all hockey players up here. Now I don't even watch hockey.
Yeah,
I don't even watch hockey.
Yeah. I grew up in Minnesota, so I grew up around hockey.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not too far. Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
all right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I'm going to grab somebody else, but we appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. Have a good night.
And cheers.
Cheers.
See you. Okay, we got Dave listens to Hi-Fi coming on next. What's up, Dave?
Hey, how you doing, Mikey?
Good, brother. How are you, man?
Oh, fantastic. Such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, buddy. Like your shirt, Rolling Stone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nice, man. So where are you?
Montreal, Canada.
Oh, cool. Okay, so
got a couple Canadians watching you.
There you go. Is that a hockey jersey? What do you got? You got a jersey over there?
That's a cycling jersey.
Oh, okay, cool. You're a road biker?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what? Look, if we go down, well, in the stream, you saw Steve, who was on there, who builds the speakers. He's a bicycle road biker too. He's got a really cool bike on the wall. I can't remember. I can't remember the story behind it, but it's interesting what people do. They do hi-fi and they do bicycling. They do photography. Huh?
Yeah. Cameras, watches,
photography, knives, guns. Yeah, it's gear. It's like gear stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Exactly.
Car detailing, which was like I couldn't get that. I've got so many customers that really get into it. Like one dude gets into it so much that I ended up buying a bunch of car detailing shit because I was so enthused by talking to him, and then I just used it. I'm like, I don't want to get out there in the heat and freaking.
I got a vintage car that I keep clean, but not a.
What is it? What do you got?
A Mini Cooper.
Oh, cool, man! Yeah. One of the older ones, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet, man. Those are super cool. They're so teeny.
Yeah, so much fun to drive.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah. So what do you got, brother? What brings you?
Well, it says public invitation to call Mikey out.
Thank you.
So I wanted to bring some heat on you.
Live one.
Okay, so first thing, vinyl.
Yes.
So you seem pretty critical of vinyl.
I personally don't see the reason for it because I don't have a vinyl collection.
Yeah.
I greatly respect it. I look up to guys that are record files, especially the music. The thing that I like about vinyl files is that y'all are music people.
Okay, well, yeah, that's my point exactly. Because I mean, I know you say digital is more accurate. I mean, it's technically much superior, dynamic range, frequency response, phase coherence, compared to dragging a rock through a piece of plastic. You're not going to get the same sound. But I know you're a music first guy.
Yes.
It's all about the music, really.
For sure.
And anytime I listen to vinyl on my system and in other systems, and I know probably half of the guys tuning in really like vinyl because it just sounds more like music.
Yes, and I've experienced it in certain rigs. Like I've experienced it where they played vinyl and then they played digital of the same song.
Yeah.
And the vinyl sounded better for that song in their system at that time. And so I understand that it can be better. But in that particular rig that I was listening, the DAC that they were using, I know is a sharp DAC to me. It was an MSB. And I was like, and it was Wilson speakers, MSB, Boulder gear amps. I'm like, I can already tell you the vinyl is going to sound better to me in this room just by what we have in this room. We need something to soften it to give us that texture.
Yeah, I mean, often guys build a system around what they prefer, and so the synergy just works better for whatever format they often have.
Yep.
But,
And vinyl itself is cool. I love records. They're so cool. You know, I mean, you see what's over here. I mean, those are all tapes.
yeah.
You know, these are from the late 70s, you know, and these are 24 track reels. And then I've got all the quarter inch over there. But so vinyl, when I do analog, I do tape. But it's just, I try and say and I think where people mistook me about the vinyl thing was I was speaking to the new person coming into hi-fi. Okay. And if they look at the magazines, right, in the general media, you know, they will think, this is just my opinion, they will think I need to have vinyl to be a real audiophile. I'm going to need to go invest in a whole bunch of records, a table and arm, a phonoprete, and all this stuff. And I say, wait a second. I don't think that's true. I think you can still have something that will connect you to the music in a great way musically. We just need to choose the right DAC for you, because most DACs are harsh. Most DACs have that digitalness, you know? And so most of the time you can kick a DAC's ass with vinyl. But in the case of certain DACs, I think like the MPD-8, which I have, like if you came here and we sat down and listened, I think you'd be hard pressed to be like, I'm missing my vinyl. Now, if it were particular pressings and things that are not available on my streaming, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'd be like, oh, the sound is unacceptable compared to what vinyl could do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you'd have to be here.
Yeah, I guess your initial video on the $1 million cartridge, some of your opinions there really kind of burned me, because it's like, he just doesn't get it. But I guess you're looking at, you know, new guy who's looking into it with kind of the opinions formed of what the advertisers are telling him, rather than someone like me who's been collecting since I was a teenager. And
dude, you guys are the coolest guys. Okay. To me, are the vinyl guys that have been collecting their whole lives, because you are a music person. You can't go buy a piece of vinyl to pick something streaming. You're just picking something. To go out, make a trip, go to a record store, dig through bins, find a piece of vinyl, look it over, choose that music. It's much more connected to the music.
Yeah, I never buy greatest hits. I never buy the best of. I only buy the album because that is the way it was presented initially. And you're missing it out if you don't have it in the context of the record, and you put on the record and you listen to the whole track, the whole side.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, no, I don't have anything against it. I'm just trying to just dispel some of the myths. You know what I mean? I mean, there's the regular guys like yourself that are music lovers. Have you ever seen Vinyl Richie on YouTube?
Possibly. It doesn't.
Okay. So I used to work at a record store. Okay. And I like being around it. I like the people, right? Vinyl Richie is on YouTube. This guy's great. He reminds me of the guys that I used to work with. He's got walls full of records, and he pulls out different albums and he talks about different things. He's a real just down to earth guy. Those are the people. Those are my people. Yourself, I can tell your shirt, your records behind you. Like I can just get a vibe from you. You're not like an arrogant, like elitist, which some of these guys I feel have that attitude with their huge Kronos rigs and all this shit that's just like so overblown. And it's like, you know, it's so much that it's like, man, I think people are getting the wrong idea. Generally speaking, my gist of my channel is to try and not to get people to try and have fresh people feel welcome and not be blown away by how expensive everything is, and how if you're only special if you have this and this cartridge and that and blah blah blah. You know, it could be even anything. It could be any gear, not just cartridges. But the whole attitude of this elite thing, I think, makes people turn away from our hobby when they're fresh into it. And so I try and make it simple and break it down and say it's not this big holier than thou thing. Like, let's just get real. It's about the music first of all, and then however we want to get there is fine. But you don't need to always get somewhere. You don't need to always keep selling, always keep trading, always and never,
you know. I mean, you can buy a used Rega and a Negaoka cartridge and have great music for not a lot of money, just as an intro. It doesn't have to be. But the investment in the records is a separate thing for sure.
Sure. Yep. Now you mentioned something earlier about the $1 million cartridge, and like I seared your short hairs on that one. Give me your case for $1 million cartridge.
Oh, I don't have a case for $1 million cartridge. I don't have a case for a $10 million boat or a $20,000 watch either.
Okay, so what was it that I said about the cartridge during that video? That
just you were saying a bunch of stuff about vinyl. How I don't remember because I wanted to watch it again, but you took that initial video down. But you seem to be poo-pooing a lot of the guys who invest money in vinyl and in expensive turntables. Kind of assuming that it was just kind of what you needed, and it was never going to do what a good DAC was going to do.
Well, yeah,
but
no,
you have super expensive DACs.
Yeah, I think more so. My point was that the way the industry is going. Okay, so in the industry, 10 years ago or so, anybody that's been in the industry, yourself too, do you know that there? Do you remember when there was that one point where all of a sudden everything like doubled in price? Like, and you're like, what happened? How come everything's double what it used to be?
Yeah.
You know, and like everything was at crazy prices and it didn't make sense. It was like 30 grand used to be a lot for stuff. Now it's 130, you know? And so, and so that's just what I was trying to make the point of was.
I blame Audio Note.
Yeah, right. That very, very well could be, you know, but I blame, or I don't blame anything. I say, you know, I'm trying to ask, like, where's this all headed? You know, it seems like the middle ground is getting eviscerated. And we've got on one end Chi-Fi, and then we've got on the other end the $150,000 amplifiers. And the stuff in the middle, which is what most of us swim in, it's slim pickings. You have to really try and find the stuff that is like Jeff Roland's a prime example. You know, $18,000 amp, you know, something like that, and at a very high quality. That stuff is, I think, getting less and less. You know, and things are going upstream or they're going downstream, and we're losing that middle ground.
And it's everywhere. I mean, look at the economy. The whole the middle class is disappearing. It's all getting polarized.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not really watching the chat, but are you guys being not good boys over here? I'm not watching the chat. But yeah, let's if you guys are supposed to debate me, throw me on the hot plate.
Okay. Second point here.
Okay, go for it.
Quick second point.
Please.
Your opinions seem a bit hypocritical in terms of bling and stuff, because you kind of call it the manufacturers who make fancy cases and don't really back it up with technology and stuff. But you like the AGD amps, which I find is just kind of gimmicky, putting a little amp in a tube, pretending to be something it's not. And you praised Roland for their machining and their thick cases and stuff, which probably has really marginal effects on the sound quality. So you kind of like it in certain spots, but you don't like it with other manufacturers.
Okay. I'll address that. Okay. So, and thank you for that. Okay. So in the case of Jeff Roland, his top stereo amp, $18,500. That's not crazy to me. That's totally reasonable. So, if we compare it to some of the highest stuff in the marketplace, it's $160,000. So
compared to the Griffin,
that's what I have. That's what I have the issue with, is this ultra high end stuff where it's like the price has no relation at all to the piece of gear.
Wow. I think we can almost separate that stuff to the kind of just the people who need to have stuff to show how rich they are.
Okay. So that's the stuff that when I address the bling, I'm talking about that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Because to me, 18 grand, $20,000 for an amplifier, totally reasonable to me. I don't think that's too much, So anything 20 grand. And if you look at what are the other things,
good.
Yeah. If you look at anything that is any other of the amplifiers at 20 grand, and you compare them to Roland, I think you get more for your money from a Roland. I mean, look at the cases of the chassis of other $20,000 amps. Nothing is like Jeff's.
Yeah.
You know. So, and I've listened to them over and over again. I've had them, and I don't change them. Like, you know, I mean, if I changed my things all the time, I might be a waffler, you know. But I'm strong and steadfast in the brands that I think are of value, and Roland is one of them. Now,
Good on you, man.
AGD, on the other hand, he created a novel item, and his first amps had the tubes, right? He's got amps now that don't have the tubes, so they're not for people that don't like that. But it was very novel, and his amps were $7,500, you know, for a pair of them. So and then 15 for the bigger. Everything was under 20. So it's like, so to me, it's like if he can bring that sort of an interesting thing, a Class D, the whole amplifier module, it may not be a vacuum tube, but it does have the complete output section in the vacuum tube. So you can replace that and put another one in and have a different sonic or more power or whatever by changing that tube. So it is legit. And the pins, the pin outs work, right? Like, so you get it actually, you plug it into the socket and all those little pins wire up to the board.
Sounds like a bit of a gimmick and a compromise, but you know, I haven't heard them, so
yeah, and right, and that would probably, you know, look, when he sent me that, the first amp, I remember opening it up. I opened it up and I looked at it, and I it was so visually amazing to me and beautiful and sculpture, like art, like it looked like art to me. That I contacted him and said, I'm not listening to it right now because my expectations are way too high. And I think I'm going to have too high of an expectation based on how this looks. Like, you've really gone overboard with making this thing look beautiful. So it better sound good, dude. You know, and I was doubting it. And then I listened to it and I was like, okay, kudos. You achieved it, man. You did it. You pulled it off. It not only looks intense and fabulous, I think it looks cool. And it sounds great. So some people think it's a gimmick, but he's not trying to say it's a vacuum tube. He's just, I mean, if you think about
it, just makes it look like one.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about if you and I were starting a company for hi-fi and we wanted to do something unique and different. How are we going to make a box look different, dude? It is not easy. It's hard.
Make it out of granite.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, right? I think Granite Audio did that. You know, so there's only so many things, and everything's been tried just about. So what Alberto did, I was like, bravo. There's nothing even close to that. I thought it was a great achievement, and what reinforced it was the fact that it sounded the way it did. I'm like, okay, respect. You just earned being able to carry that thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, because at first I was very skeptical. Just like
if
you.
If the sound is there, then yeah, I agree with you.
I was skeptical too. I was like, what is this gimmick? It's not even a tube. This thing better sound good, man, because you're really putting your balls on the chopping block here with this to be, you know, shot down. And he did. And he's a good guy, man. He's really smart. He knows how to make things sound good. And he's got a lot of passion and a lot of heart. He really wants to make good things. And he really listens to the people, and he creates products after getting feedback. He'll change his thing. He won't just sit and be like, nope, this is what I've got. You guys either like it or you don't. He listens, takes feedback, and will make adjustments in different products. So all in all, I think he's a good brand. And that's why I like it. It's not just something that I picked, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So anything else on your list?
No, that's what I got for you.
Cool, man. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. And hey, man, you're the first guy that gave that you know, put me on the spot with a couple things. So thanks, man. You understood the homework.
I read the title.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So thanks. I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else appreciates that. And let's, I'm going to grab somebody else.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Okay. Cheers, man. Okay, Van, you ready, buddy? You ready? You want to come on? You got something? Okay. Hey, man.
Hey, Mikey, how are you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, man, of course. So what do you got for me, man?
Well,
you gonna throw something at me?
Yeah, I do have
Good.
something for you. You know, you and I consider you as a good friend. you are, you have a great channel, but there's one thing that I have never really brought up to you, but I just wanted to bring it up tonight.
Okay.
And get it straight.
Okay.
And I think this may have been covered earlier. I came in a little bit late.
Okay.
But I really, really, and I feel strongly that a lot of the racks that you have, I just don't really think that they add much to the performance of the system unless you're doing something like with vinyl.
Okay, but did you hear the comparison videos?
I have listened to them.
And you thought it was a marginal difference, not worth it?
It was just so marginal. And I just want
Okay.
And
okay.
In the old, so years ago, I had a pretty heavy rack that I actually made myself, and it was for my vinyl table because the bass would get to the turntable, so you can actually hear rumble through the chain.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like DACs and amplifiers, I just don't really see the value in it, and I just want to see.
Well,
hear what your the theory. Hear what your thoughts are on that again.
Okay. So, I mean, I can break it down into pretty simple breakdown, which is, at some point with your rig, when you get to a certain level and you've got these $24,000 DACs and and you're starting to get more expensive stuff, you kind of want to put it on a nice rack. I mean, you don't want to just throw it on some wood, concrete blocks and shit that you threw together, or even just a cheap wood rack that vibrates, or even a strong, threaded rod and granite or something. You at some point you want something that actually, at least for me, at some point I wanted something that had design built into it for sonic purposes. And this is based on mechanical grounding. And I put it in and I heard a difference. Like maybe it was marginal. But it was, it was a definite audible difference. So to me, it was worth it. I'm like, if I can hear at some point you get to a point with your audio rig where you're like, anything that I get that's a gain, I want, obviously within reason. So those things are, $2,000, they're per level or whatever. That's still kind of like, attainable. It's not 15,000 per level or whatever. So it's not crazy money, right? So and it looks cool to me. And so, even just based on that, it looks beautiful to me and that I could hear a difference and an improvement. That was my choice. I like that one better. Better than
how about this, Mikey? I mean, I'm all for improving, performance of the system. And so let's say if you got someone who's like skeptical like me, and I have heard systems that were on pretty nice racks, but they're in listening rooms at a stereo shop, right? But as someone who's going to start in and get a nice rack that's not going to be like $10,000, $5,000, what would you recommend then? What
as an alternate?
What should someone look for?
Well, I don't really know any brands that I can say offhand, but I know that there are some guys that do, like, there's a company called Ultrasonic Racks. I don't know if they've gone up in price. Like what typically happens a lot of times is there'll be people that are on AudioGun, and there'll be guys that make them in their shop, and they can make some really nice stuff, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but sooner or later they get popular, and then the things go up to an arm and a leg. So there was one called Ultrasonic Racks, but he used to use acrylic. Okay. And while it looked cool and he could LED light it, which I thought was a little gaudy, but it was, and the aluminum work was very nice, but acrylic has static electricity. So I don't want to use a stand that has acrylic because it's going to hold a static charge unless you destat it every time or use like some sort of acrylic that is non-static or drain static. I don't want static, around my audio system. So I just took the acrylic rack. I just used his legs and made some wood stuff out of plywood. I made another rack out of stuff. Oh man, what are they called? Like in the factories, man, you can DIY your own stuff. They're like giant adult Tinker Toys, and they use them in factory warehouses. They're these T slots, I think they're called. It's girders, and they're used to make stands and racks and things in factories and warehouses. You can get it at like McMaster Car and stuff like that. And you can build a really wicked rack out of that stuff too. And it's all aluminum extrusion. And then you can put wheels on the bottom, or you can put spikes, or you can put whatever you want, you know? So I used to make all my own racks beforehand.
Okay. Well, okay. So you're saying, okay, I know how it's important to have it grounded, but then you're saying that you can put wheels on it, but that doesn't the wheels?
That's right. That's not, no, that is a different idea. So it's one or the other. Yeah.
Right.
Either you want to move it around, you want to have it on wheels where you're not going to be solid mechanically grounded to the floor because it's got a rubber strip on it. Right.
Right.
So,
exactly.
so it defeats the purpose of mechanical ground to have wheels on it, but it makes it, you can move it around. So
Awesome.
now there's also ones that have, well, it's not really mechanical grounded, but they have wheels, but then you can crank this little thing and then the wheels retracts and then it sets down on a rubber foot, but it's still a rubber foot, you know?
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
Mikey, I'm not going to sit there and beat you up there, but
Right on, brother.
thank you for the time. You have a good one.
Okay. Thanks for joining, Van.
Yeah.
All right. See you.
Yep. Bye.
Cheers. Okay, guys. So I think we've got what I'm going to do now is I am going to come on to the chat and I will start joining you guys because I have not seen what you guys are talking about in the chat, but I'm glad you guys are over there having fun. If everybody, I think I've seen all the guests so far that are in the waiting room, but if anybody else wants to come, this is the link, and then you can come on as a guest if you want to give me a hard time. Hey, Mikey, could you cover why your diffusers are in the middle of the room? My diffusers. Isn't the space between your speakers supposed to be free space? How much is it all affecting your rig? Yeah, well, sure, man. I could clear all that stuff out, but it's a showroom, and I have things that I have 2 different systems in there at the same time, 3 different, systems sometimes. And it's a showroom. So I have to deal with what I have. So those tube traps are diffusers on the back. They're reflectors on the front. Those go in the middle. It helps give an image, man. Putting something in between, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but sometimes you can put a wall. You can put a wall in between your 2 speakers, and it's amazing to hear how it sounds because you're not getting this crisscross of the sound. It's not always everything you read is not always the truth. So what I have in my room works. Okay. And you have to just put in your room, try different things and see what works. Whatever happened to Source Point Killers? They're in the other room. Costa. I'm slammed for time right now. I've got so many things going on with family and just all this stuff that the latest thing is the Magnapan LRS, but I've got the Source Point Killers in the other room. I just have to bring them into my listening room, set them up, and start playing with the crossover curves, get my crossovers right, and then when I have it right, I'll bring it to you guys. Why aren't more women audiophiles and reviewers? Chris asks. That's a great question. It's kind of a sword fight, it's just kind of a guy thing. Some women are into it, but it's like, why don't you see? There is a contingent, but it's just kind of, I don't know, man. I think it's maybe women are not as much into gear, but I don't know. Are women into photography and guns and knives and golf and shit? There's always some women. Maybe we just don't hear about them as much because I think they just maybe. I've had women that have called me to buy things and so forth, and some of them are real. They've been doing it for a long time, So maybe we just don't see them as much. AVU girl, thanks, Drago. Curious on Oswald Mills. I know it's a high price point, but thoughts on the brand? Not sure Mikey has ever commented on the brand. Yeah, I've never heard it, But I know I've had people that have gone to that guy's place in New York, customers of mine that have gone there, and they did not have a good experience from the guy. So and they said that, and at least from this one customer, he said there wasn't any bass in this guy's. The speakers look like beautiful artwork, right? So the way from the little experience that from what I've seen, then I learned about Oswald Mills in Rob Report. Not even a, so it's a cool thing to own. It's like if you got a huge loft and you're in New York and you're a millionaire and you want to have some cool shit to look at, Oswald Mills is a cool thing to look at. I don't really think that, to me anyway, I've put them in this little box. I've sort of put them in the camp of, functional sculpture. I don't think they're really, they're not a sonic, they're a design company. They're not like an audio company. To me, that's my opinion. I feel that they're more in the design realm, making visual art, that happens to work for audio as well. But I think their visual art comes first. So yeah, right. Women are too smart to deal in this stupid area. It's a dick show, and so it's like, and it's stupid. CD player with DAC has always sounded better than streaming. Well, you need to get a better DAC. I do think otherwise. Why? Because your DAC isn't good. If your CD player has always sounded better than streaming, that's weird, because when I had a CD player with a DAC, we could plug in a USB to, and it would work as a DAC as well. And when I compared that actual CD player with a Philips CD Pro, top loader, so it had a good transport. Man, a friend brought a damn laptop and he played some music that were rips, vinyl rips that he played off a laptop, and it smoked the CD. CDs, man, the thing about CDs are certain CDs are unlistenable to me. I don't know what it is. You set a little stack by your CD player, and then that's the only ones that you ever listen to because they sound good, because the other ones are unlistenable. You don't get that with streaming. There's nothing on streaming that I've ever encountered that was unlistenable. And I listened to some stuff that's from the 1930s just to show that, to prove that point. I listened to some old stuff. So yeah, so I think you need to. I don't know, man. I can't say why. If your CD player with DAC has always sounded better with streaming, then keep your damn CD player with DAC. Easy as that, man. But that's not the case in my experience. So that's why I don't use it. She doesn't think cables matter. Does having more than one pair of speakers in the room muddy the sound with sympathetic vibration? It can. Yeah, it can. I can't get around. I could get around it, but that would mean I'd have to carry speakers out every single time I wanted to change. I have to deal with it because I'm a dealer, so I have to use other speakers in the room. But I'll tell you what, if it muddies the sound, I got some pretty damn good sounding mud in my room. And I've had, professionals come. You saw Dave Malkapor from TAD came, and he sets up recording studios, professional recording studios. The guy has got an ear and he came in and was like, whoa, mad respect, Mikey. Like, we don't even need to measure in here. Like, you've done a great job. And I'm really glad we chose you to represent our brand, the brand TED, because you're doing a phenomenal job. So, and that's with other speakers in the room. So some of these things you got to be careful not to get tripped out on, because they can make a difference. And yes, if you measure, you could probably find a difference, but it's like, I'm a dealer, I have to show other stuff, Eventually I'm building a 2-car garage in another room above it. So I will have a lot more space for other rigs. And then I can make rooms that are dedicated to one rig without anything else in there. I can't wait. Besides, I got a lot of stuff I need to purge. So if you guys want some used gear, get in contact with me, because you'll get the deal of the century, and it's stuff that I've handpicked. Where are we? Have I got an opinion on makes of capacitors and gear? Is there one make of capacitor you like? For what kind of capacitor? Are you talking about a film and foil? Are you talking about a electrolytic? I like Jupiter Audio, are my film and foil brand. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to give it more edge, then you want Mundorf capacitors. You know, you want something like VH Audio. If you want to give it more musical, organic feel, then you go with, you know, Jupiter, or you go with Musicap, or, you know, what were the, or Clarity Cap's kind of right in the middle. So it depends on what you're trying to do with the circuit. Hey, Yannick, what's up? Hi, Rez, no problem. Mikey is pushing back end plus. Mikey just said family matters. Yes, right. Yep. I have 3 pairs, but never that. OMA is craftsmanship. Yep. Okay. The turntable does look awesome. Yeah. It does look awesome. But, you know, how does it compare to a Kronos and Sonic? I wonder, you know. Where are we? Men and women. Yeah, Michael Walker ought to get it. I think he's Walker Audio. Men and women's minds are wired differently. Yeah, one is not just different, for sure. Thank God we've got them to keep us on track, man. Otherwise, we'd be like driving around in Corvettes with guns and, you know, knives and beer. Women can be incredibly perceptive. Yeah, man. I bring in my woman into the hi-fi when I really need to hear something. I bring my woman in and she sits down and listens, because her ears are really way more sensitive than mine. You know. Yeah. You need a better streamer. That's right. Yeah, Zipper. He needs a better streamer. Streaming sounds good. Like good FM to me. Maybe I need an upgrade. That could be, Michael. What DAC are you using? You know, because the DAC is where the rubber hits the road. The streamer is not nearly as important as the DAC. The streamer is like 75%, and I'm sorry, the DAC is 75%, the streamer is 25%. What is a good planar headphone? I have no idea, Moon. Dig your name, Moon Gem. You are probably got a cool person to talk to. Yeah, man, I had Odyssey. And those were planers, and I think you could do mods and shit like that. And I could have gotten in there and tweaked them all, but I'm not a headphone guy. I don't listen. My rig is so much better than the headphones. So I don't, and I have no need to use headphones. By the way, while I've got everybody here, every Wednesday I do this live stream. Okay. So this time we're doing it on Monday, and I'll try and be here on Wednesday, but Wednesday I'm bringing a DAC to a client. And so I'm going to be on the road, and so I'm doing this one early. But normally every Wednesday night you can come here and you can do Q&A with Mikey, and we have fun and we all talk. So who is the girl at Upscale? Can't remember her name, but she seemed pretty cool. Isn't CD and streaming ones and zeros? No, it's not ones and zeros. It's ons and off. It's up and down. It's a click of a you know, and I'm not the guy to get into it and tell you the technicalities, because I'm not an engineer and I really don't give a shit. I just know that these ones and zeros, or whatever you call them, the digital bit stream needs to have an accuracy, right? It can be inaccurate or it can be accurate. And when it runs through the DAC and it does its process, there are artifacts that come from the conversion process. So that's why different DACs sound differently. So not all digital is the same, you know. An upgrade may be the ticket. Yep, it always may be. Ornder, M Labs, PBD, Playback Designs make good streamers. Yes, they do. Yep, I would agree. Isn't about the mastering. Funny how CD rips of vinyl sounded. Vinyl rips. You mean a vinyl rips? Yeah, it's not a CD. But how many TADs have you sold? You already know that. I already told you. I already told you that. That's private information. Kat is her name. Kat, a really nice lady. Yeah. Yep. She was cool. I met her at the show. At Moon, just got a set of Dave Clark audio, magnetic planar cans being driven by Sweet. Okay, there you go. Wish to comment on why you don't have a vinyl rig. Yes, too much work, and not enough return. Okay, because I don't have a collection of records. If I had a collection of records and I'd been collecting my whole life and I had this thing with records, I would have a vinyl rig. So you got to realize I don't have piece one of vinyl. From what the vinyl guys, and trust me, I talked to a lot of vinyl guys. Nick Patanzi, right above you, this guy's a vinyl seller extraordinaire. He used to manage record stores. He sells, and I've got other guys that I could get the best pressings of the best shit no matter what. Okay, but for the other things that I couldn't get from Nick, I'd have to go and use today's crappy vinyl. Today, from what I hear, the old vinyl is the good shit. The new formula that they use for vinyl is crappy. It's not as good. And then, dude, I'm like this. I'm OCD hi-fi guy, right? So if I get a vinyl rig, it's gonna have to be something that's expensive as shit, right? And then I have to worry about my cartridge and which arm, and is it set up right? And then I'll have to have 5 different cartridges, and I'm gonna have to, with all that shit that's involved with vinyl, I could put a fraction of that into my digital rig and have a digital rig that is as good as vinyl, in my opinion, okay, and in other people's opinion too. So there's no reason for me to do vinyl. If you can see what I have back here, that's all master tape. If I go over to this side, those are all master tapes, okay? Those things kick the living shit out of vinyl. Okay, so my analog is master tape. I have tape machines. I've got the real tape machines that came from Hollywood. One of them came out of the recording studio, Hollywood Sound. Van Halen probably recorded on it. I mean, it's like, so I don't deal with vinyl. There's no reason for analog. And when I want to go through all the ritual and shit, I play my ass some master tape. Okay, and so that's my deal with, that's why I don't have a vinyl rig. There's no reason for me to spend the money. The last I want is more headaches with my audio rig. And a vinyl, there's so much liability with vinyl, so many things that can be off, that can go wrong, that can be not right. It's way too tweaky. It's like, no way, man, I don't want it. And I don't want to start it. And I talk with many vinyl people, and I asked them, if you were in my shoes, would you start vinyl? And every single one of them said no. If you haven't started it, it might be a good idea just not even to start. And I was like, okay. They gave me the honest, the honest truth. So I said, you know what? It makes sense to me. So Tuba headphone amp, thoughts on Philharmonic audio speakers? Never heard of them. Will you be going to any audio shows coming up? Maybe Capital Audio Fest. Well, I having any special? Jay did, Professor Jim. Hey, I don't know. I don't know, man. I think Jay thinks I'm trying to throw him under the bus or something, or I think Jay thinks I don't like him or something. I don't know. So I don't know. I have no problem with Jay. He's on a different path. His guys are different than my guys. And, he likes a different thing in audio, but I always thought that was what was cool about us talking to each other, was that we were diametrically opposed. But I don't know. I don't know what his deal, why he thinks I'm out for him. It's not that way. Does anyone see Jay's audio lab? I mean, Jay, what? Without women, we'd still be living in caves. Without women, we wouldn't be reproducing. We would have ended in caves. My wife can hear my cable swaps from the kitchen. Yeah, you can. They've got good ears. Lawyers, guns, and money. Yeah, right. And cars, fast cars. What's the best linear power supply for the network box? I don't know, man. I liked, and I think they're made in Taiwan, so I'm safe. Keces, Keces. DAC Terminator. I do not like the your DAC is the Terminator. Okay. Yeah, it's okay, DAC. I don't know that your streamer is really your issue. But with Terminator, can't you take, do you have like the I2S working on it or whatever? You know, that's another whole thing. I2S, I think, is bullshit. But with DACs like that, they're set up, some of them, to sound better with I2S. So maybe you could try that on your Terminator. Maybe you could try different filter settings. But I don't know that a streamer might make it better. I don't know. What are you using for streamer, Michael? Odyssey ZR, good planers. I disagree with 25-75 split between streamer and DAC. Cool. I'm happy for you. Focal Utopia, I'm done with headphone search. Yeah, a lot of people said that. Why Zipper? Why? He's probably a computer guy. He's going to get into how important computer, is, but, whatever. We've each got different opinions. Wait, if we stop listening to women, we can drive Corvettes firing guns while drinking. Yeah. Right. Okay, at Upscale, hey, View, good to see you here. Focal Utopia is not endgame. It's great, but not great at everything. Jennifer Fripp's Terminator DAC still sounds digital. Yeah, I know. You'd have to, do you have a budget to go higher? What's the next one up? Terminator's like $6,000. So what do we have in like there's an M Labs MA3, a DA3, MA3. What is it? MA3. That is totally not digital sounding. I've got one for sale. It was, and it's black and it's brand new and it's got a streamer on it. It's $12,000 DAC. I'll sell it for $9,000, full warranty. It absolutely, and if you don't like it, it doesn't beat your Terminator, you can send it back. I'll give you 100% refund. And it's got a streamer on it. So and a volume control. You don't need a preamp. You don't need a streamer, and it's got everything on there. Look it up. M Labs what is it? Yeah, it is M Labs MA3, or no, Meitner MA3. It's Meitner MA3, MEITNER. Timing is very important. Yes, it is. It is. Translate Fred, garbage in, garbage out. Well, yeah, but that's, garbage, how are you going to get a garbage bit stream, from a laptop? That's about as garbagey as it gets. And look how many people are using laptops at the audio shows, and they're selling killer gear, so it's 25%. There's no way it's more, it's refinements between tell me that the $30,000, $35,000 Tyco Extreme, Asus gaming board, Optane memory stacked, streamer is any, dude, it's going to be a C hair better than, a small difference. It's not night and day. I've heard these things, dude. I've gone through tons of different, I used to sell Antipodes. I had all of these different streamers, man. It's not that big of a deal. All you got to do is get an audio card and don't take USB off the motherboard. If you do that, man, wait. I had a $150 streamer I plugged into my rig. Try and tell me that it sounds like garbage. It's 25%. 1 and 0 is a voltage and can be inaccurate. Yeah. Well, okay. Cat or upscale. The stream is not garbage. Right. The stream. Yeah. The stream is the stream, right? It's like once it gets into the machine, that's where it becomes the garbage, right? I don't understand. I've got somebody, a computer, what is he? He's a computer scientist that he's coming and we're going to talk. He's going to be my guest. We're going to talk about how all these things are baloney. He has a map of where your music comes from Tidal. We can trace it all the way, every single server in between on the way to your house. And you can see everywhere it goes. What's up, Al? How you doing, buddy? Hello, my name is Travis. What's up, Trav? And there are circuits that clean up the digital and also track errors that have accumulated in transition. Yes. New formula for vinyl. No, yeah, the new formula, the new vinyl that they use does not have the toxic shit that the old one did. The old formula was better. New vinyl is crappier material because you can't use the same poisons that we used to be able to use. It's the same with vacuum tubes. Depends. There's still some really nice records being made, but it's a deep rabbit hole, right, Nick? I mean, you can back me up. You can tell me. I guess Chad Kassem makes some good stuff, but I've heard some horror stories of stuff coming from Chad where there's still flashing on the outside of the record that wasn't all trimmed off. You know, it is a lot of tape, man. I have a lot. If you don't have a lot of vinyl, don't bother starting with it. Yeah, see, it's I mean, I understand the reason for it, but to make a collection right now, and then why? So that I have to flip it every 20 minutes and then I have to search like a mofo to find the music that I really want, look through all my layers of records, and then pull it out of its sleeve, pull it, get it all nice, clean it off. I mean, that is so much time before I actually get to listen to music. It's too much, man. I mean, I understand some people, it's their peaceful little happy spot, but not Mikey. I mean, I'm weaned on flipping on a tablet. So to give me all that extra time I would feel like I'm wasting time, man. I want to listen while I'm in there. I don't want the ritual. 30K plus albums. Look at that, man. It can be absolutely awesome with a phenomenal setup. I'm sure it can, David. What would make it absolutely awesome is 30K plus albums, bro. That's what I'm talking about. It's not the freaking rig. Jesus Christ, 30,000 albums? Fuck, dude. I would go crazy with 30,000 albums. That would be fun. Digging through all your shit to find what weird, crazy ass vinyl you got. Like just shit you could probably maybe never find anywhere else. It'd be super cool. That would be fun for me. What would be fun for me is digging through that shit. But dude, I'd need a pile of speed and like all the time in the world. And then I would have fun because I would have all the time to burn, but I don't have that kind of time, man. Unless you just love, to get the covers right. Right, exactly. No, seriously, I look at some albums and some of these box sets and I'm like, I want to buy it just to have the art, and like you said, look at the books and stuff. It's just a cool thing to have. Like I would buy records even without a turntable, just because records are cool, man. I mean, the house should have some records in it, just because every house should probably have some records if you're a music lover, but who knows? Maybe I make some art out of them, frame them up, do some cool art collage using. There's no such thing as clean up the signal. Okay, so this guy, even if you clock into a buffer and clock out separately, the quality of the square wave generated by the streamer is very important to the DAC output. And clock out separately the quality of the square wave. Yeah, but okay, so I get what you're saying. What you're saying is if there's noise in the signal, if there's noise on the square wave and the noise is in the signal, nothing can take that noise off. You can, if it's riding on the signal, you can take that off. But if it's in the signal, you can't take that off. I think that's what you're trying to say. Right? And give us Zipper unamused. Tell us your background. Are you a computer scientist? Are you what do you know? Give us your credentials. Tell us why you know this shit. Because that would be Kenny's got his raincoat. I don't have a raincoat, bro, but I'll tell you what I got. Because you said you were a master debater. So I've got this, man. If it gets too heavy, I got my helmet on and I'm ready for action. Okay. This is my motorcycle helmet, by the way, dude. I ride this puppy. I need to get some stickers for it. I don't know what kind of stickers, or maybe I'll have it painted or something like that. But I use a 3/4. I don't need no stinking fancy helmet, but I do have the Arise and shit. Where is my raincoat? It's funny. Trying to order PB. Vinyl is not a precise technology. It's not, but that's what makes it charming. Digital formats are superior for getting the right represent. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you ask any production guy that is a tracking engineer, they will never say to record the tape. It's ridiculous. And vinyl equals tape, right? You record a tape and then you put it onto vinyl. You in 1 in a million do you actually record straight to lacquer, you know? I should get a vinyl. No, I shouldn't. No, I shouldn't, man. I don't. I'm not, Dave. I would do it if I was interested. I would, but it doesn't hold any allure for me, you know, at all. I'll come to your house, bro, and then I'll do videos there. We can sit and go through your record collection, or David Cross. We can go through his 30,000 records. That sounds fun. Have I heard the Pearl Listen speakers? I have. No big deal. Made in China, same price as shit made in Denmark. I'd rather have something made in Denmark for 20 grand. I don't need to say anymore. I like the J Mikey discussions, debates. Yeah, man. I do too. You know, we're opposites. So I think it's like we work together because he's black, I'm white, or I'm white, he's black, or I'm black, whatever. We're two opposites. So it's like yin and yang. So I know people like that shit. But I think he doesn't, he thinks that I got something against him or something. I'll tell you why. I put a thing, someone commented about the rig and I said something about audio for dummies and for my title. And some guy said, why should we listen to We Are Dummies if we listen to a guy that has an audio system worth more than a house? And I said, there's only one guy on YouTube that has that, and it's not me. So I was, and that's it. I didn't even say Jay's name. I was giving him props. I'm like, Jay is the king of the expensive fucking ultra hi-fi. He's the man. He's the guy that has the most expensive shit on hi-fi. That's or on YouTube. That's his deal. So, but he thought I was saying that his house wasn't worth a lot. Like I was trying to devalue his house somehow. I'm like, dude, how the fuck did you come up with that, bro? Like that is so fucking out there, like not even close to what I meant. I'm saying you're fucking king daddy, big dick daddy with a fucking huge system that's worth more than a fucking house, because it is. The average median house in the United States is $460,000 now, and Jay's system is worth more than that. I was giving him fucking props, but he thought I was throwing him under sliding his house. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And then he made this whole thing on haters. And I'm like, dude, you're crazy, bro. Whatever, you know, so, you know, I don't know, man, so I don't know what happened, man. It derailed, you know, I guess, you know, but I got nothing against Jay, man, at all. I told him, I said, I got nothing against you, your fucking channel, dude. You do your thing. I do my thing. Together, we are yin and yang. It's like, it's a good thing that we're opposite, dude. The more fucking opposite we could be, the better, you know, because it serves you guys better. You got two different dudes to watch. If we were the same, you'd have to fucking pick me or him. If we're both opposite, then you can watch both of us, right? So anyways, at Fred, will you flip out if I tell you network switch and a network cable makes a difference in DAC output? Oh, Zipper, we can argue that all day long. My computer scientist guy, I've heard that people say that they can hear an audible difference, but my computer scientist guy says that's all fucking bullshit. That a network the fucking, you know, ether regen bullshit, you know, optical regen or whatever. I'll try it, man. And it's not gonna, I don't need to go to frickin' Sonor to get that shit. You can go to the computer store and turn your frickin' your Ethernet right at your modem, switch it to frickin' optical, you know, fiber, send it fiber to your rig, and frickin' convert it back. If you really got balls, your DAC accepts fiber input but nobody's does that. Playback Designs does, but not in between the streamer and the DAC. So the DAC gets the thing, but not from Ethernet into the streamer. One man's heaven is another man's hell. That's right. Look at Pamela Anderson. Have you gotten opinion on DMN? Yeah, I have no idea what those are. DMN? Got no idea. Demon? I don't know. I have Wilson speakers and I think they sound musical. You hurt my feeling. I'm sorry, VU. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Dude, I'd love to come and listen to them. Where are you? You know, man, I would love to hear Wilson. I think the Wilsons are fucking amazing cabinets, man. I mean, I look at the build on those things and I'm like, God damn it, I want them to sound better. But you know, I mean, and look, don't get me wrong. They don't sound bad. They just don't engage me with the music. They sound perfect, but it's excruciatingly perfect. It's like, it bugs me. It's so perfect. So, so anyways, yeah, tell me where you're at and maybe I'll come listen. There's some guy in South Georgia that has some Wilsons and he wants me to come down. I can make a video. I'll do it, man. I'm willing to listen. I want somebody to change my mind. Same with Magico, man. Change my mind, you know? Okay. Nick was managed a record store. Sorry that you have Wilson speakers. See, that's the other thing too, is that when you talk about Wilson, I'm not the only guy with that opinion. There is half the people out there don't like Wilson's sound. And half the, you know, people that are steeped in hi-fi. What is wrong with battery power supplies? I don't know technically, but they have their own issues. They do something else to the sound, and I can't remember what it is, but you know, an engineer would be able to tell you. Using Cocktail Streamer 3 years old. If it's 3 years old, that shouldn't be bad. I don't even know what a cocktail is, but you know, is it in the hundreds of dollars? Have I listened to Audio Note? No, I have not. Audio Note is one of those highfalutin brands. I would listen to it. I don't see them at any shows. They're supposed to be really good. You know, Ongaku or whatever is supposed to be like the thing, you know, but look, Zipper's saying the MA3 is very nice. It has a great streamer, you know. So David, if you want that, you could get the streamer, a preamp, and a DAC all together. And I have one and it's brand new and I'm going to sell it. And I'll sell it for $9,000. What's up, Joseph? Agree with Mikey. You can rely that the bit stream you're getting is not corrupted. Right. Yeah. I don't think it's the bit stream. Like that stuff it's data. It's computer data, you know. But I don't know how to describe it, but I just know I've talked to people that are professors, you know, that are computer scientist guys, and they're like, no, dude. You know, and they can explain. I'm going to have one on and we're going to talk to him and then he can explain to you guys, but I can't. Thoughts on Harbeth? I don't really like British hi-fi. So that's my thing with Harbeth. But I guess they're good. People like them. Am I going to carry the entire line of DACs from Nuontech? Yes, I am. Hey, Joe, sup? I have the older Meitner MA1. Yes, just a DAC without streamer and preamp and connected to an MLab streamer. Sounds phenomenal. And not digital at all. That's right. Yeah. My problem was that it was too soft sounding with the MA3. But if your rig is a little bit forward sounding and you have a digital sound, David, if it's sounding a little forward in digital, the MA3 will cure that. I can do a poor job of turning the bit stream back into an analog signal, and that's where the problem will arise if it arises. Right. Yeah, that's what my understanding. Tell me your playback streamer is not materially better than your computer USB. Yes, it is. It is. But you also have to realize that the connection between the playback streamer and the DAC is ST glass fiber. But even by USB, it would be better than the computer USB, but even with my $11,000 playback streamer and the computer USB, it's going to be 25%, brother. And in hi-fi, 25% is freaking a lot, but it's still just 1/4. 3/4 for sure is the DAC. Harbeth sounds like someone singing. That's good. I mean, if it's a vocal, right? If it's a electric guitar, that might be weird. If it's a piano. It's the material for making the records. Yes. Yeah. The vinyl formula is the actual plastic formula. You know, the polymer. SACD better than most laptop. Hey, vet guy, a nice C7 probably up for trade. Yes, that's right, man. Oh, is this Joe from Los Angeles? From the Orange County? Is this OC Joe? Yeah, man. I'd like to get a C7. C7 would be cool. See, I like C7 because it still looks like a Corvette, man. The new one doesn't. It looks like a, something else. I have tried various audio streaming services and Cobus sounded better in Tidal. Why? I have no idea. Well, I have no idea. 100 records you bought, no way to play them now. I got to sell them after finding your channel. Yeah, man. If you've got no way to play them, I mean, you could get a cheap record player and just play them and have fun, man. If you got 100 records, shit, buy a used, at a local store, or just get a something they call a record player, not a turntable. Once you call it a turntable, it's a different price point. Organizing your vinyls, half the fun. Okay. Yeah. High Fidelity was a great movie. I will use the money towards a quality DAC. Yeah, you could do that. It's a great idea. It's not all about digital stream. As long as you connect your network to your streamer via RJ45, that's what I use. You'll need to consider potential ground noise getting into your streamer and DAC. That's a good point. I use switch at my rig to like whatever condition or filter the RJ45 run. So it goes into a fiddleizer, which is basically an off-the-shelf switch that has the guy's gone in and put in some caps and other shit and whatever. Air 404. What's that? Records are good when the internet goes down. Yeah, CDs too. Or just you can have ripped shit on your hard drive and the internet can go down and it still doesn't matter. You can still stream from your computer. You just can't stream from Qobuz. But if the internet goes down, I'm still good with all the stuff on my hard drive. My DAC has a reclocker on input. Yeah, most of them do. I think it's protocol for any USB transfer. Are CDs and CDs and cassettes, unless you're MoFi. That helmet looks like it should go with the Cafe Racer bike. I know it does. Man, I've got an adventure touring bike, which is more of like a race bike with bags. It's the new sport touring version. The sport touring bikes are now sit like dirt bikes. Space Tech Lab, I've heard about them, but I have not heard them. I'm always welcome to come listen up in Canada, man. That sounds fun. I don't know what we would. Oh, dude, Canada's freaking gorgeous, bro. Like you said, you were in. I can't remember. You weren't in Ottawa. You were in Montreal. I don't know, man. Canada's gorgeous. I want to ride my motorcycle up there, man. You got some you've got some beautiful stuff up there. Beautiful, beautiful country. Formerly double E, not doing that. Oh, okay. I enjoy learning and reading engineering docs. Cool, man. What was your capacity as a double E? What sector were you in? Computers? Jay doesn't strike me as the brightest dude. What do they say about master debaters? What do they say? You can switch hands without losing a stroke. Question from my wife, Mikey. She wants to know why I can't hear her from the kitchen, but I can hear differences in cables. Exactly. I like your wife. She's awesome. That's a great question. Yeah. See, she's on to you, Michael. She's on to you, brother. That's funny. Newman does selective hearing. Yep. We need Andreas to come to the chat. Andreas will. I've got a really cool. Andreas is going to have a discussion with us about why he chose DSD and the pitfalls of PCM DAC conversion. And we're going to make that case pretty strong. I have Yvette's with Past Labs. I'm in Mass. Okay, I met you briefly at Capital Audio Fest in the GT Audio Room. I liked his planers. Great bass with the subs. Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, I might see you at Capital Audio Fest again. Maybe I'll stay for a couple days and go visit some guys. I might want to go up man, I've got to go to Mass, man. There's What do I want to check out? New Haven. Oh no, that's Connecticut. That's right. Mass is even higher. I would still go up to Massachusetts, man. I want to go hang out there, man. And somebody I talked to, he comes from a family of fishermen. He's down on the Cape, and said he would take me out and like show me. I could go out where the boats are and go check it out. And we might even be able to go out. I think his brother still has a boat. We could go out fishing off the Cape, which would be super cool. I'd like to see that. I just want to see. I know it's so ingrained in the culture there. I'd like to just go experience it. When am I coming to Dallas? Oh man, I don't know. I do have to go to Dallas. I've got a good friend there, one of my early adopters of my cables, and a doctor, and he's a good guy. Heard audio noted shows and wasn't impressed. Oh God, it's 2:05, 2 hours. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Let me try and get through these last ones. I didn't know laptops were that bad, but I've got to stop shopping at Best Buy. Yeah, streamers will make a difference. How did my background in car audio help you transition to high-end audio? Body blue, raised arms, love your content. Body blue, raised arms. I don't know what that means, but my background in car audio just didn't really help me transition. Well, I guess how it helped me was I could afford high-end car audio way before I could afford high-end home audio. So it's easy to make a car. It's not. It's a lot easier. I mean, for 10 grand, you can have a sickening car audio system, and it was fun, and I just love music, but car audio is kind of like for fucking with other people, it's kind of like I can play it loud and put my windows down and, pull up next to the Rappers with Ted Nugent on or some shit like that. It's just for fucking with other people. I found it was a lot of it had to do with other people, and so it was just kind of silly. I don't use the car anymore for listening. I listen to music in my car all the time, but I don't take it serious. It's not where I critique audio. I critique audio in home. So what's my beef with it? There's no beef with it. It's just not my flavor. It's too polite. I like a little harder hit. So there's no beef. Please, what do I think about the MG12 Maggies that I have? They're great, man. MG12s are freaking awesome, man. They're killer. I love MMGs too, man. Those are killer little speakers. What do you listen to Mikey into? War on Drugs. What do you listen to Mikey into? I don't get that. What do I listen to Mikey into? War on Drugs? I don't get it. I don't get that. You'll have to say it again. Does my new DAC have a volume control? No, it does not. But I am asking him to make me one because I think we should have one. So I'm asking him to make me one for the tribe, and I'll buy a limited run, and then I'll sell it to you guys if you want it. Make all the arguments why network cable makes zero difference, but I heard a difference, an obvious difference. Yeah, I've heard a difference too, Zipper. But I hate shit that has no explanation, right? Like, why does a network bothers me that it makes a difference? But I've heard it. I know I've heard it, dude. I make wicked Ethernet cables. Silver, and they're silver plated copper, and there are high specification. Good idea about the switch. I have a long network cable. I'm still good as well. Lots of rip files. I'm gonna ask. Peace and good. Okay, I'm getting out of here. Do I still have the? Yeah, man, Grover, you better get in contact with me. I got one order today, and I've got 2 of them left, and I've got 3 people that have asked about them, but one guy pulled the trigger that was out of the blue. He just called up and said, I want to order it. I didn't even have a conversation with him. That was the first thing he said to me, calling to order the $2,000 DAC. The other guys I know, and they're like, oh, should I try it? What do you think, man? Is it going to be good? I'd like to know a little more, but if you want, if you want it, Grover, call me. Anything you buy from me, I guarantee that it's going to be what you have or your money back. So you're good. Overall debate and Q&A. It was, I would say the rating for tonight, I think it was cool, man. Dave gives it 5 stars, so that's cool. Dave, thanks for bringing what you brought, Dave, because you were the only guy. I wish I had more people like you, Dave. I give you lots of cred, man, or lots of respect for coming on and being the only person to actually, you know, face me with something, you know, that you wanted to understand better. And I wish I could, you know, more people would do that. Otherwise, they're just talking shit, and they really aren't even willing to be intelligent. You're intelligent about it, you know. The other people that are talking smack are just exposing themselves now at this point of being unintelligent trolls. They don't have anything. They don't really even have a conversation. So I can just blow them off, you know. What is best? Let's crush your enemies, see them driven before you hear the lamentation of their women. Darlington Labs. Yeah, I'm sure that's great. Fiber's ideal connection. It is. If you can run fiber SFTV to your streamer and then fiber from the streamer to the DAC, the cable shouldn't make any difference. Yeah, that's true. But I have to, I can't go into my streamer with fiber. I have to go in with Ethernet. To our listening group, War on Drugs. Oh no, I'll check it out though. Okay, I'll call again tomorrow. Yeah, just call Grover on my phone call. I think we've talked before. I believe I remember you. Okay, everybody, good night, man. I'm tired now. This is like it's past my bedtime. Holy shit, it's midnight, quarter after midnight. All right, guys, love you all. See you later. Thanks for joining. See you.